Hello, and welcome back to the Without Distraction Relationship Broadcast. I am your host, Dr. Ingrid Durr. Today we have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about something very, very important of what's going on today. We're going to be discussing where are our young men today. Thank you, Johnny, for coming to be a part of the show today.
Good to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you, and we're going to be dealing with the issues that young men face today. We're going to discuss the problems and the hard times and hardship and what they can do to overcome the situations they're going through. So if I was to ask you that question, where are our young men today, what would you say?
Well, first, before we even talk about the young men, the question I would have to ask is, where are the older men? Where is the older previous generation? So before we even get there, I guess the lack of the older generation has to do with the young generation that's here now. And a lot of our older men are incarcerated, no jobs, homeless, house to house, no stability. So we really have to focus on what's going on with them. And if we can get to the root problem of what's going on with the older generation, then we can solve some of the issues with the young generation. And I really believe that if it was possible, if we can get one legitimate father in each household, we would solve a lot of problems that's happening in our generation as far as, gangs, drugs, and violence. We could solve a lot of issues if we can get to some of the root causes of what's going on with this previous generation.
That's right. If it was any way possible, then that definitely would solve a lot of problems, because it starts off with the fatherhood and the parenting in the homes. But like you said, the older generation, we have to look at what happened there. Where's the decline and what's going on with them? Why is it that the younger man is not looking up to the older men as role models like they should? But we find out that they can't, because there's a lot of negative patterns that have taken place in their lives, and therefore it's being transformed, like a transferring to one generation to the next generation. And so you're seeing everything.
It's definitely generational, because the young men get their identity from their fathers. And we have a fatherless generation now.
That's true.
Because a lot of the young guys they don't really have no one to look up to but the gangs, but the people on the streets, alcoholics. My daddy was an alcoholic, I'm going to be an alcoholic. He was a womanizer, I'm going to be a womanizer. And instead, they're looking in the wrong direction. They're looking up to someone, but they're looking in the wrong direction. We need young men. We need more older men to take a stand and not be passive and show what it is to be a good husband or a good father. What it is to walk your children to school every day and make sure they're okay and get involved with their homework, with activities after school, and not be so caught on what's going on as far as the gangs. And that's all the older generation are kind of lowering the standard. We have lowered the standard in this community, in the nation. We're lowering the standard. So the standard was raised high when I was growing up, as far as you're going to go to school, you're going to go to high school, you're going to go to college, you're going to get you a good job. Once you have all that in place, you can get married. But now it's, we're having children after children and don't have jobs and education.
That's true.
The guy, now we're disrespectful, and a lot of stuff that we're doing in this generation, we didn't tolerate that when I was younger. Your generation didn't tolerate it.
That's right. So you see a decline of generation moralities and just the respect, the love, and just having community with people. And not to just mention people outside of our families, but even in our families, sometimes you have people right in your home and there's no communication, there's no community. that's going on. So what you're saying is just so powerful that we have to look at the older generation first of all and see where the decline had taken place and what we can do to help shaping the minds of the young people today to help them get to the next level. We know that men and young men, like you said, they get their role model from their fathers, but if the father's not in the home, then exactly what's going on?
Right.
What's happening when there's a lack? And I believe, like you said, we find that there's more stress on the women because the man is not in the home. And it could be through death or separation, not always divorce or anything, but it could be other reasons why they're not in the home. They could be sick, very sickly where they have to be in a nursing home. But a lot of reasons when the man is not there in the home, especially for their young sons, then it does affect them. Why? Because they get their identity from their fathers.
From their father.
So if they're not getting it from them, where is they getting it from? What's happening?
And that's one of the main issues was going on. You know, me growing up without a father, that affected me. So you know, always the generation that's here now is affected by the previous generation.
That's true.
So what our forefathers did or what the nation is doing affects us now. You know, if we don't tolerate, you know, the guys walking around with the pants all down and cursing at women and calling them different names. If we stop doing that, it'll change the culture. It would change the way things are done in this society. And also the burden has shifted.
That's true.
So now you're not transitioning from high school to college in a positive way because your father is not there, or you don't even have a role model that you can look at. You know, so now the burden has shifted to the women to take all the weight. You know, that wasn't really made for her. It was made for the man and the woman to kind of level and balance out the family. You know, because the father give the son his character and you know his willpower, his strength to work hard and to open the door for the elders. And you know, we don't do that no more because they haven't seen it, and that's the problem. We need more example. We need more guys to just stand up. You know, even if this not your blood son, you as a man can affect a young guy. You know, by speaking to them, by interrupting them. You know, cursing their mama. Hey, hold on. Yeah, that's not how you talk to your mom.
That's right.
You know, and you know I did that a lot of times, and the mothers be, I'm so glad that you said something. You know, we just need that to come back, and that will change a lot in the community on every aspect of a community to really see guys to stand up and not be passive and you know, take on helping another family son if they're a widow or you know.
Well, and see that's how it was as days in the past.
Yes, it changed a lot.
Currently in this 2014, I'm 50 years old. But if you look back, and I look back from my mother and grandmother, and coming up as a child myself, there was so much, you know, it's so much difference than it is today with everything. Just like your neighbors help you raise your child, you know, because we was there to correct one another's children. And say, boy, did you do that? Or did you say that? And then sometimes they'll discipline them before they get home. Before that child get home to see their parent. Then they get it again at home. So it's like the community helped shape the young men and the young women and what to do and how to have respect to themselves, first of all, and then respect for others. And I find that sometimes people, they don't really know how to love other people and really show genuine concern because they haven't really received it themselves.
That's right. we have lowered the standard. We got to raise the bar up again.
Yes, we do.
In this nation, you know, if the White House or the nation is lowering the standard, it's going to affect everybody.
The city,
it's going to the city, the community, the family, then the individual. So we have a lot of young men that's walking around with no identity, and we need to get our identity back. And a lot of it's because what you seen your family, your father went through, or your parents went through, and we kind of fed into the lie that we're nothing, and we can't get a good job, and you're not going to graduate college. And once we can get past that, and a male role model or a woman will come and say, no, that is not your identity.
Right.
You know, your identity is not, you know, the failures of the previous generation or your parents. That's not your identity. And give them a new identity.
Yes.
You know, and say you can go to high school, you can graduate and get a good job and have a positive family, a wife and children. And I'm glad that I'm able to say that at 30, you know, being a father of two and a husband. You know, I had it rough growing up, you know, without my father. But there was other fathers around that steered me and say, you know what, I know this not my son, but I'm gonna treat you like a son. You know what? Let me show you how to rake the yard. Let me show you how to mow the lawn. One day you might need this. And I still remember those small little details that different men have spoken to my life, and we need more of that. We need, even if you think it's insignificant, you know, it's not. Every seed is going to grow. Every seed that you know, whatever it is, just teaching a young man, hey, let me take my nephews out and teach them how to, you know, how to paint, and how to do different things, and they start learning that you know, I like this. There's something about this, you know, because we was created to work, you know, and to protect. And now that we lower the standard, we don't protect women, we don't protect girls, and you know, it's just terrible, and we need to really do something about it, because I love this community, I love this generation, and you know, every little thing that I can do, I want to do it. I don't want to let another generation pass without having a chance, without knowing that they could have did something.
That's right.
So, you know, that's mainly, you know, what I believe, that we have to raise the bar. And I remember a story that a guy told me. He said, it's a whole team. Could nobody on the team dunk? So they lowered the goal. And one dunked, and he celebrated and went crazy about it. He said, but I know you done, but we have to lower the goal. You know, so what you getting all excited about, you know, when we have to lower the goal, it's nothing to get excited about. You couldn't even dunk where it was at. You know, we got to raise that bar. We getting excited over, you know, what we're accomplishing, but before the goal was higher than that. Right. So
but even though he might have some incentive now, encouraged that he did, but he still must understand that there's another level. You just keep moving forward. That you know, but even though now it's even harder though to young men to just move forward like they should because of all the crisis and all the stuff they're dealing with. But that little incentive will help them to get to the next level.
We're settling for less now.
But we're settling for less. That's true.
And we gotta aim for the stars.
That's right.
You know, go after our dreams. Go after those goals and plans that you have in your heart to do, and what your parents wanted you to do. Go after it. We're just settling. I finished high school. Nobody in my family finished high school. That's it.
Yeah, and
then you're out on the streets selling drugs and end up getting locked up and just wasting all your time behind bars.
That's true.
And you know, I want to see more. You know, there's people out here that really want to see a community that love each other, that supports each other, you know, and be healthy and watch a family grow, and, you know, actually be there when your kids get their first job and their first apartment. they need their parents to be there.
That's true.
You know, it's important. Just because they're grown, don't stop. You know, you growing together as a family.
Right.
You know, you still be there.
The support system.
We need that. We need community back into the generation and more opportunities too. Exactly. We need more opportunities for the older guys that has messed up, and let them know, I know you messed up. Right. I know this happened to you. Mm-hmm. You know, but it don't stop here. You're still breathing. You still got a chance. You still have a shot. It's not too late. We need more of that in this generation. That's
right. And you've been raised without your father. You lost your father at a very young age. He deceased. And how was it then? Was it really hard on you? What were some of your thought patterns, if I may ask? Some of your thought patterns during that time? It was hard.
It was hard. You know, for a long time I dealt with depression and like, man, well, my father's not here, so I felt like that gave me permission to live any kind of life, you know, to drink, to party, to use foul language. You know, it's like, well, my father's not here. You know, it's like where my stability is not here. The one that's supposed to be here,
and the authority figure,
the authority, the covering over my head is not here. So now I got a reason. And I hear a lot of guys on the street talk like that, and I correct them because I'm like, I've been there and I've done that. Yes. I used to think that way. Well, my daddy, he had 3 wives, you know, so you gonna play all these women and or whatever, you know. But it was hard, and mainly I realized that I didn't have an identity, and I had to find who I was.
Yes. Oh wow.
And not rely on the past. Not rely on and push forward and say, you know what, that happened to me, but it's time to grow up. It's time to get healed. It's time to get over that. Yes. You know, it's time to be vulnerable and share with other people, you know, what I was going through.
Yes.
A lot of people, you know, spoke into my life and got in little groups, and other fathers said, hey, I was there, man. I ain't had my father. And sometimes you feel like you're the only one in the world that's going through storms and going through stuff until you find somebody else's testimony what they went through. And that's what healed me, is to hear about other older, you know, fathers that's telling me, hey, man, I've been there, I've done that. Let me help you.
Yes.
You know, we need that. You know, it's not too late, you know.
The community needs that. I mean, everybody needs that support system. And someone that they can talk to. I don't care if you're a political official,
right,
doctor, a lawyer,
right,
Indian or chief, like they say. But it doesn't matter who you are, what size of life you are. Everyone needs a support system. Need someone to talk. We are made to have community with one another. If a person want to isolate themselves, then they only can do that for so long. Usually they do that when they go into depression. But, you know, they can fall out with a person. It could be a family member or a friend. But before you know it, they're going to be longing for community, because God created us and wired us to have community, because we help one another in this life. And so what you said is just so powerful. If the men can take in and undergird another young man and just, you know, and it just the manhood, the power of the manhood. You know, women, we have our way of getting together. We talk about things, and most of us, we talk about things as a form of outlet in a way, but in discussing positive things to kind of release some of the thought patterns of, hey, I'm dealing with this. But, you know, and the other person probably can relate to the same thing.
We need more of that.
And that just kind of lifts that burden.
And the men, we have learned, well, we haven't learned, but a lot of men feel like that's weakness to tell somebody else. I'm going to handle this myself.
Okay.
I'm going to take care of this myself. I'm a man, and I ain't got to tell nobody. And,
human nature.
And eventually that pride leads to a fall.
That's true.
You know, that pride eventually is going to catch up with you, and you're going to be older and realize, man, I'm lonely, and I'm trying to do all this by myself. Mm-hmm. You need somebody else to strengthen you. You know, and that's how we is, just like a war. You know, if a man fall down, you don't leave him behind. You pick him up and you don't kick them down.
That's right.
See, one man fall, we kick them down, and we kick them further down. We have to learn how to cover our brothers and pick them up and say, I know you messed up.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But come on, let me help you. You know, be that strength for your brother.
Yes.
You know, help him carry that burden and get him through. You know, and not let another generation go to waste. You know, so that's pretty much.
Right. Wow. That's awesome. You said a whole lot in just a short time. But there is greater needs today. Greater needs as it was then. Even though it's the same needs, but it seems like there's a demand because there's a decay in our society through media, through what's happening in school systems, and everything else. For almost every positive thing, there's a lot of negative things too that's going on in the same systems. And our young people, because they have lack of vision, they're feeding off the wrong source.
Yes.
They're drawing from the wrong source. So, you know, the thing is, if we can help shape the minds and help them find their identity, and by the way, and speaking of that, after all the things that you've been experiencing in your youth without your father, and a lot of things you dealt with, the peer pressure, all the gang and the drugs, everything that was introduced to you, and that your experience. Now look at you today. You have a very good life, and you have went from one level to several levels.
That's
and
right.
Where you are today. What really helped you to get to where you are today? What really transformed your life?
One, definitely God and His grace, you know, and His mercy. You know, I could have been gone a long time ago. Plenty of opportunities. I could have, you know, drunk too much, you know, and I was in hospitals, you know, doing a lot of stuff, but it was His mercy. Yes. And family that loved me, that said, hey, you know what, we're not going to just let you go that easy.
That's right.
You know, love covers a multitude of a lot of sin, or, you know, a lot of failures and but faults. When you can love somebody back into their position.
Yes.
You know, so I was out of position, but family was still there and said, I know you're messing up, but look, bro, let me help you. Here's a job. Hey, you can come work with me for now until you get on your feet. You can stay here until you get on your feet. You know, I'm going to teach you. And you need to learn more about business and managing your money. And, you know, so it's just a family, a network of just different avenues that help me. And we need more of that in the schools and more programs for the young people.
Oh, yes, yes.
You know, to learn how to store your money. You get that from your father, too. You learn how to, you know, store your money and save and use it for this. And you know your balance. You know your limit, not overspending. You know, if you're only getting $500 coming in, you're going to get a car that's $5,000. You know,
that's right.
See, we need fathers to say,
a lot of fast food.
You need to start out with this car first.
That's right.
You know, it ain't the best, but it's going to get you where you got to go.
For now, that's
right.
But
our generation, our culture is changing. We're just overspending, and its poverty is getting higher and higher, and it's greed, and you know, a lot of that starts with the nation. If the nation is in debt, eventually everything under that umbrella is going to follow the same steps. So we just need some good teaching, some more programs that teach us, hey, this is how you do it. This is the positive way to do it. This is the healthy way to do it. And it's going to benefit you, and it's going to benefit your future family. You know, so...
And that is so powerful. And that is one of the purposes of having the annual Without Distraction Relationship Conference.
Yes.
Because it's to build families. It's to build singles as individuals. Because how a person is single, as a single individual, would affect them when they get married. You know, if you're whole and complete as a single individual, and if you can learn how to love yourself, when you get a spouse, you'll learn how to love that spouse. It'll become more easy, it'll become more natural to learn that spouse. And in turn, you'll be able to love that family, love your children, and give back what was poured into you.
That's right.
And so that's one reason why we have these conferences. And by the way, the information is on our website, www.withoutdistractionrelationship.com, and you can get more information about our annual event and the events that may be taking place in your area. Or feel free to call us at area code 708-745-4393. We'll give you more information on the events that's coming up, and it's usually around Valentine's season, and sometimes as we're planning conferences throughout the year. So feel free to check out our website and tune in and call us and let us know that you're enjoying this broadcast, and that we have more and more shows that we're going to be presenting and teaching and sharing, and how we can help better shape our community through conversation. And so again, we have our guest, Johnny Miller, my son, my oldest son, and we're just so glad that he's here. And in a few words, what would you say to encourage those that they don't have their fathers there, and maybe their mothers are there, and their mothers are doing everything that they could do? But what would you tell that young man, what would you tell him to encourage him, and even if he's in the eye of a storm right now?
Well, if you're in the eye of a storm, it could be positive and it could be negative. But the positive is you're going through the storm. Just because a storm comes, that don't mean that's the end. You still have time, to stand up on your feet and go through it. I rather go through life and fail trying than to fail not trying at all.
That's right.
So it's not too late. Just get back in the game. You got people around you that love you, communities. Be vulnerable, communicate is very key to families and young men, to actually communicate with those that are positive, that's doing something, and you can see their life and their fruits, of a healthy family. It won't hurt to just reach out to them and ask, hey, can you help me with this, So that's pretty much just be encouraged and keep your head up and get in the game. It's not too late.
It was really, really great having you. I'd love to have you back again to continue to talk about what's going on today. And you as a father, my son, and
as long as I'm not a wife,
and a husband. As a young man in your 30s, you're doing a very, very fantastic job with your family, and I highly commend you and your heart and your passion to reach out to the community, to reach out to people, and I say just keep moving forward yourself. Just keep moving forward. There's greatness in you, and it's already coming out.
Thank you.
Wow, so
thank you
awesome.
For the show and reaching out for people. It means a lot.
Yeah, great. Again, thank you for tuning in to Without Distraction Relationship Broadcast. You can hear more about the broadcast, the sessions. Go to our website at withoutdistractionrelationship.com, or you can call us at the area code 708-745-4393. And you can even go to my email address that I currently use, Ingrid Durr for you at yahoo.com, and you can just email me, write me, and let me know of segments that you would like to hear more about, and we can do some repeated segments and new shows that we have coming up. So again, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you real soon. Thank you.